and made me just want to be more active in my community.
It's great. I like it very much. Very informative.
My name is Lily Larson. I'm 17, and I've been an activist since I was 5. There is no age too young to get involved in your community. Let's come together and make change for the highest good, for our neighborhoods, for our city, our state, our country, and our planet.
A day of inspiration, networking, education, and maybe a few sign-ups of new members for the city's 97 neighborhood councils. I'm Anna Marcos for LA This Week.
For more information on joining a neighborhood council in your community, visit empowerla.org/councils. Turning now to our homeless crisis as city leaders expand on an outreach program, hoping that more boots on the ground combined with a personal connection will help more people who are homeless get the help they need. Rasha Goel has more.
Jeanette Boyer, a clinical case manager, is taking her services to the streets of the Fashion District. She is part of a team to help homeless individuals. Boyer tells us about her experience when talking to this man.
It's mostly just being, very nice and open and seeing how they respond. He seemed kind of concerned because this was his tent over here, that we were all kind of around his space. And so I kind of explained to him what we're doing here, and then he seemed interested in some services.
It's all part of expanding outreach to individuals of the homeless community to get them the help they need. Councilman Jose Huizar says the first responders to help these individuals should not be the LAPD and LAFD, as the issue goes beyond what they are able to provide.
If we look at the overall demographics of homeless individuals in Los Angeles, about a third have mental health issues that go unaddressed.
This expanded outreach is being funded by Measure H, which is aimed to combat homelessness in LA. It involves direct interaction between professionals and homeless individuals.
We have primary health care, behavioral health care, substance abuse services, as well as people who with lived experience, formerly homeless individuals, on these teams that are going out on the streets every single day and making contact with homeless individuals with the goal of bringing them into housing and services.
This program is similar to another program on Skid Row known as C3, a city-county community outreach program.
The homeless individual sees these individuals every day, and they start building the trust over not days, maybe weeks, maybe months, but eventually they'll say, hey, yeah, I trust you now. I'll take your word. I'll go to that shelter.
These teams are part of a larger county-wide strategy. Currently, there are 25 teams, but officials say by the end of the year, there will be 36 teams deployed throughout LA County. In downtown Los Angeles, I'm Rasha Goel for LA This Week.
Over in North Hollywood, individuals who are homeless also got some much-needed help and care as Councilmember Paul Krikorian's Homeless Connect Day brought city and county agencies together at the North Hollywood Community Center. Anna Marcos takes us there.
Homeless Connect Day draws hundreds of people who are on the streets for a little TLC, a warm welcome, warm food, and maybe, if they're lucky, a warm place to call home.
I found out that they was trying to help the homeless get off the streets, so I decided to come.
Housing, I think I'm getting something. I've got a Section 8 voucher coming. Well, I had an aneurysm right here, and I was in a coma. When I came out a year later, I had nothing.
I appreciate the housing thing, but if I can't take my dog with me, we'll stay out on the street.
I go around helping and volunteering and speaking to a lot of the people because a lot of them know me from the streets. So I go around trying to give them encouragement and letting them know that being homeless doesn't mean you're hopeless.
Councilmember Paul Krikorian started the event, which takes place every few months. Local city and county agencies all take part, and this time around, the North Hollywood Community Center plays host.
We created the Homeless Connect Day concept to try to address that specific idea of going to a person, not a statistic, but a person, and identifying what it is that that person needs, and then getting them connected.
This is literally a one-stop shop. Not only can homeless residents get the usual food, housing, and medical services, but how about a state ID card from the DMV?
I need an ID of any kind.
And as Homeless Connect Day winds down, a lot more people will leave well-fed and well-groomed. Some even get a yoga mat for a little R&R, and a few make it off the street. I'm Anna Marcos for LA This Week.
LA Family Housing, one of the lead organizations in the event, helps house more than 6,000 people a year. Switching gears now to the current state of LA's entertainment industry. Thanks to film and TV tax credits, a lot of productions have returned to LA, but local leaders want more, and they want to increase the current $330 million in tax incentives to $500 million. Gil Reyes reports from a Tinseltown gala where local leaders say LA is worth it.
The Made in Hollywood Awards shine a spotlight on Emmy-nominated programs produced in California. 23 shows in all this year, including Veep and Jay Leno's Garage. That's a record number of locally produced programs honored.
That money that is being spent here on these productions is going right back into our local economy. It's also helping our small businesses, our dry cleaners, our restaurants, our caterers.
Our Hollywood councilman, Mitch O'Farrell, co-hosts the gala. He says $330 million in California film and TV tax credits have helped keep productions local since 2015. Before that, heartache. Many industry pros were forced to pack up and leave for other states to work, sometimes leaving their families. Among the honorees happy to be home, cast and crew of the HBO miniseries Big Little Lies. It's mostly shot in the LA area.
There's nothing like going home in your own bed after a 14-hour day or a 15-hour day or a 12-hour day. You know, nothing like it with your family and, you know, be able to be on the weekends and see your kids.
Now, it is important to note that these tax incentives are set to expire in about 3 years. That's why LA City Council member Mitch O'Farrell and LA Mayor Eric Garcetti are pushing hard to extend these programs like a blockbuster Hollywood sequel.
As the mayor has said publicly, he would like to see an increase in the cap up to $500 million.
Kevin James from the mayor's Office of Film and TV says the city is also helping local productions by allowing free filming in city-owned buildings, and not just City Hall.
Because of the old Community Redevelopment Act, some properties have reverted back to the city and are available. One example I'll give you is a Warner Brothers feature called Lights Out. Great film, very successful financially. It was filmed entirely in the city of Los Angeles, and the old Highland Park Bank building was the prime location for that film shoot. They paid no use fee for that.
The city committed to playing an award-winning supporting role in keeping productions in and around the world's entertainment capital. In Hollywood, I'm Gil Reyes for LA This Week.
City leaders hope to work with colleagues in the state legislature to get that additional $170 million in tax credits approved. Well, they say if you build it, they will come. And as Gil Reyes reports, they came all right to a job fair aimed at finishing a series of projects to accommodate LA's unprecedented growth spurt.
This job fair in the West Adams district relates pretty well to what Horatio Gordon sees happening all around him.
I think it's a wonderful thing, especially when I see that there's funds being allocated for construction projects. Everywhere around the city you go, you see construction everywhere, and now they're allowing some of the people from the community to get in and learn construction careers.
Look around. Crews are building up in downtown and in Hollywood, while across the tracks, LA Metro has 40 years of transportation projects down the road following the passage of Measure M. Fly on over to LAX, and you'll see construction plans taking off, part of a $14 billion renovation. Hopes are to find some of the workers to complete these projects at the Public Jobs for the People Fair, the job fair at First AME Church, hosted by Councilmember Marquise Harris Dawson.
There's no reason for anybody in the city of Los Angeles to not have a good paying job that's meaningful to all of us who live here.
3,000 jobs available just for this day, but Councilmember Marquise Harris Dawson estimates 1 million new jobs will be available over the next decade. For from infrastructure projects alone. In South LA, I'm Gil Reyes for LA This Week.
Many of the jobs are being offered by private companies working on public contracts. Call it the Mexican 4th of July. Mexico's El Grito celebration marks a high point for Mexicans on both sides of the border, and city leaders help make it one of the biggest parties of the year. Ana Marcos takes us there.
¡Viva Mexico!
The El Grito is followed by the ringing of the bell. City leaders do the honors as Mexican Americans celebrate the anniversary of Mexico's war for independence. And for the city, this is a major, major bash.
I'm here to celebrate part of my culture. We are Mexican and American.
Apparently, you're never too young to learn about Mexican independence, even if you can't quite pronounce it.
Independence?
Mexican independence.
Day.
Day.
And so you're wearing part of it on your head?
Yes.
The Mexican skirts twirl, the flags wave, and the dancing is contagious. Everyone definitely out to have a good time.
I'm dressed as Frida Kahlo because she's the very famous artist, and
she's Mexican.
Yeah, and she's Mexican, and I'm a very good fan.
This year's El Grito party is bittersweet as it comes on the heels of the Trump administration's crackdown on immigrants. For immigrants who are the heart of the community, we will fight hate in Washington. This is where love is. Some of the so-called dreamers, immigrants who came to this country illegally at a young age, came on stage holding hands in solidarity. They've been able to stay in this country with the Deferred Action for Childhood Arrivals policy, and they hope the Trump administration lets them stay.
I hope he understands that we are part of this country, that our roots are also here.
I just want to say that the Mexicans, we are a wonderful people.
Councilmember Gil Cedillo helped put on the party. We caught up with him earlier in the day.
It's been a tough year for our nation, a lot of divisiveness, a lot of talk about hate and deportations and walls. We want to celebrate.
And celebrate they do, with sombreros out and dancing shoes on. I'm Ana Marcos for LA This Week.
The celebration also included a family fun zone, community resource booths, and even free legal consultations. One nonprofit teams with LA City Libraries to help save arts education. Gil Reyes reports on a national after-school program that's finally arrived on the West Coast.
Grade school kids in South Los Angeles receiving free arts education from what's billed as America's largest art school. And there's no tuition.
It's a wonderful arts program for kids in our libraries where they'll be working with resident artists. We think of the library as, of course, an education organization, an information organization, but the library is really a cultural institution, and it is indeed an arts institution.
LA City librarian John Sabo talks to us from Junipero Serra Branch, site of the West Coast launch of Project Art. Project Art is an after-school program that began in New York City. Its goal, to provide free arts education to underserved kids at neighborhood libraries.
We provide the art supplies, the curriculum, we give an exhibition at the end of the year, we recruit, train, hire, and pay the teachers as well.
It immediately struck me as a very efficient and effective program to tackle this issue of declining arts education in our public schools.
An estimated 4 million grade school students don't have access to arts education because school districts can't afford it. LA City libraries taking part in this program include Junipero Cerro Branch in South Los Angeles, Hyde Park Branch, Cypress Park Branch, and Washington Irving Branch in Arlington Heights. Enrollment is first come, first served. Register your child at projectart.org. I'm Gil Reyes for LA This Week.
The program also helps prevent latchkey kids from going home to empty houses while their parents are still at work. Project Art is also taking place at libraries in New York City, Detroit, Miami, Chicago, and Pittsburgh. A 4-month carnival of Latin American art is wowing crowds from Santa Barbara to San Diego and several points in between. Gil Reyes reports from the opening reception for Pacific Standard Time, LA.
Performers in downtown's Grand Park help launch a cultural extravaganza spanning hundreds of miles. Time for Pacific Standard Time, LA, where even the information kiosks are works of art.
So we wanted to produce a space that felt enclosed, that you were entering into kind of a sanctuary space. At the same time, you wanted them to have visual and spatial access to all the other activities in the site.
We are at the kickoff of Pacific Standard Time, LA, and its focus on Latin American and Latino art. Literally dozens of venues to choose from all across Southern California for you and your family to enjoy.
Ranging from Santa Barbara, Palm Springs, San Diego, and obviously most of the art institutions in Los Angeles are participating.
Venues just in Los Angeles include the Getty Center, Hammer Museum, LACMA, and MoCA. People could read up on all of it at this information pavilion. Close by, postcards like this one promoting Afro-Brazilian art at UCLA's Fowler Museum are handed out.
Each card has a different museum on it and a different art image, and we are giving people the opportunity to collect them.
Plan out your day and create your own artwork by building a House of Cards planner. You can choose to learn about Chilean-born video artist Juan Downey or radical female artists of the 1960s. Or why not visit both exhibits in one day? Dancers, singers, caricaturists, they're there too. This collaboration is led by the Getty.
And it's political pressures that put borders around people, and works of art build bridges and not walls, we like to say, and I think this is going to be evident in to a great extent at Pacific Standard Time, LA.
The events run through January. In Grand Park, I'm Gil Reyes for LA This Week.
For information on all the exhibits, dates, and locations, log on to pacificstandardtime.org. Well, Councilmember Jose Huizar seeks to boost the budget for the 6th Street Bridge Park to make sure residents get what they want. Does your local park make the grade? Find out in a new report. And a Chatsworth park closed for a decade is back in business. All these stories in City Beat. LA City Council member Jose Huizar introduced a motion during a city council meeting to secure $2 million from the Adelante Eastside CRA funds for the new 12-acre 6th Street Bridge Park that will sit below the new 6th Street Bridge in Boyle Heights and downtown Los Angeles' Art District. It's slated to open in 2020. The motion is part of Huizar's commitment to securing an additional $6 million to raise the bridge's park design and construction budget from $23 million to $29 million to ensure that the public space on both sides of the river have design elements that the Boyle Heights and Arts District communities support, such as soccer fields, basketball courts, water splash pads, dog parks, and event space. LA City Controller Ron Galperin released a report card for city parks, giving poor scores for the maintenance and cleanliness of restrooms, but better marks for playgrounds, trails, and gyms. A survey of 3,700 park users also found that cleanliness and safety concerns keep them from using the community parks more often. The report card graded 40 of the city's 95 designated community parks. The city manages a total of 444 parks ranging in size.
Together, we can make sure that our parks be the very best that we all want them to be.
10 years after it was closed because of lead contamination, Chatsworth Park South on Devonshire Street has been reopened. The property used to house a skeet shooting and trap range. In 1978, a portion of the park was developed with a recreation center, parking lots, and other outdoor features, but was closed in 2008 after environmental investigation found remnants of lead shot and clay pigeons contained hazardous substances. The park has been cleaned up and redesigned to include natural landscape features, bioswales, trails, new equipment for children's play areas, and open space. It's an opportunity for young people to help bring something positive to their community. Rasha Goel has more on how a group of students is doing just that.
For Youth, by Youth is the main theme of this fun-filled festival that was recently held outside of the Boyle Heights City Hall. The event was a collaboration between Councilmember Jose Huizar's office, Boyle Heights Youth, and other local organizations.
It's the message that we're sending our young people. It's about telling them that we care about them, that we're here, and we could do better if we work together as a community.
The festival was planned by 20 high school students who met every week for 2 months.
This was a very interactive and wonderful experience for me to actually become a part of something and actually bring something to the youth and plan it out.
Boyle Heights has been known in the past to be a gang-concentrated area. Over the years, it has changed, but events like this, the councilman says, helps give the youth a chance to make positive choices.
We're proud of our young people, and we're trying to do as much for them so that they have opportunities.
We understand that youth sometimes really want to go out there, but they just don't find the resources, which is why we helped out today. We brought in these activities, and along with it, each agency was partnered up with the activity, and they were able to really connect with it.
What made you want to be an author and want to write?
Yeah, well, for me, I dreamt of being an author. I spent a lot of time in the library, and I would look at the bookshelves, and I wouldn't see any Latino names up in there, except for a couple.
They hope this is the beginning of many free and family-friendly block parties. I'm Rasha Goel for LA This Week.
Travel back in time to experience what it was like to be a pioneer, celebrate Latin culture during the Festival of the Americas, and get moving to the beat of the Watts Towers Day of the Drum Festival. All this in this week's Things to Do. Chatsworth Pioneer Day is a fun family festival with loads of old-time activities, food, games, and museum exhibits that feature Chatsworth equestrian heritage and pioneer families. Activities include a bake sale, blacksmith, wood carvers, leather crafts, panning for gold, veteran quilt display, rock chippers, beekeeping, telegraph station, butter churning, and more. It all takes place on Sunday, October 1st at 11 a.m. at the Homestead Acre of Chatsworth Park South. Kick off Hispanic Heritage Month by celebrating at LA's Festival of the Americas. Hosted at La Plaza de Cultura in downtown LA, this all-day event is an opportunity for both Latinos and lovers of Latin culture to honor the diversity of North and South American cultures. Festival highlights include local and international cuisine, Latin-inspired drinks, traditional Latin games, and international and regional music. The festival takes place Sunday, October 1st from 11 a.m. to 8 p.m. at La Plaza de Cultura in downtown LA. For more, visit lafestivaloftheamericas.com. A lineup of world-class musicians, singers, dancers, and drummers will hit the stage for the 36th annual Watts Towers Day of the Drum Festival. It's a celebration of music, arts, and people coming together. It's a festival not to be missed and takes place Saturday, September 30th and Sunday, October 1st at the Watts Towers in LA. For more, visit wattstowers.org. And that's a look at some things to do. Well, that's going to do it for this edition. I'm Yana Kane from all of us here at LA This Week. Thanks for joining us. A reminder that you can catch us online at lacityview.org. You can also follow and like us on Facebook. We'll see you back here next week for more of LA This Week.
Emergency, operator 271.
The city of Los Angeles receives over 2 million 911 calls every year. Hello, I'm Mayor Eric Garcetti.
I'm Chief Charlie Beck. A significant number of 911 calls are not emergencies.
911 should be used for emergency calls, such as preservation of life, a crime in progress, prevention of a crime, or a public hazard.
If your call is not an emergency, such as a loud party, verbal dispute, public nuisance, or lost or missing property, you can dial 1-877-ASK-LAPD to have the police respond.
Remember, call 1-877-ASK-LAPD for non-emergency calls.
Los Angeles Police Department, what are you reporting?
Hi, I'm Gina Ray, and this is my dog Whippet. We're from Winnetka. Get it, girl. You're watching LA City View, Channel 35. This is our city and our channel.
Good morning, good morning. If everyone could please take your seats. Shh. If everyone could please take their seats. Welcome to City Hall, your Los Angeles City Council. This council meets every Tuesday, Wednesday, and Friday at 10. All is welcome. Madam Clerk, we do have a quorum. Begin.
Blumenfield, Bonin, Buscaino, Cedillo, Englander, Harris Dawson, Weezer, Koretz, Krikorian, Martinez, O'Farrell, Price, Rodriguez, Rue, Wesson, 11 members present and a quorum, Mr. President.
Okay, first order of business.
Approval of the minutes.
Okay, Mr. Price moves, Mr. Rue seconds. Next.
Commendatory resolutions for approval.
Mr. Weezer moves, Ms. Martinez seconds. That brings us where?
Mr. President, items 1 through 3 are items for which public hearings have been held. Committee reports for items 1 and 3 have been submitted, posted, and circulated for council's consideration.
Thank you. Specials members? Okay, let's prepare to vote on these items. Let's open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
11 ayes.
Continue.
Items 4 and 5 are items for which public hearings have not been held. 10 votes are required for consideration.
Okay, so without objection, those items are now before this body. Do you have cards on these items?
Yes, Mr. President,
Okay,
there are cards.
Let's hold these items and move on. Continue.
Mr. President, on the continuation agenda, items 6 through 9 are items for which public hearings have not been held. 10 votes are required for consideration.
Okay, so first, without objection, let's bring these items before us. And do you have cards on these items?
Yes, sir, there are cards on all of them.
Then we'll set them aside as well and continue.
That brings council to presentations, items called special, public comment, and or special meeting, sir.
Okay, well, why don't I recognize Ms. Martinez, and let's begin with our the presentation portion of today's agenda.
Good morning, colleagues. Good morning, Mr.
Morning.
President. Is everybody ready? Colleagues, I'm proud to say that this is our 3rd year designating October as Girls Empowerment Month. In our city, women remain underrepresented in many fields such as business, media, STEM careers, public service, and public safety. Gender equity issues are worse for women who live in poverty. Here in Los Angeles, 40% of the student population lives in poverty. In my district alone, only 13% of women...
Wait a minute, let me stop you. Mr. Spindler, you are not going to get behind Ms. Martinez when she's doing a presentation. If you do that again, you will be removed. So this is not your time, it's their time. So sit down, and Ms. Martinez, I apologize, but it's back to you.
Thank you, Mr. President. It's unfortunate the grown man can't seem to behave in council chambers. I appreciate you interrupting and making that clear. Thank you. In my district alone, 13% of women have completed a college education, and 56% of households are headed by single women with minor children. We know that when youth grow up in needy communities, it is often harder for them to access resources and programs to expose them to career opportunities and equip them with the tools to be successful. This is why I have been so vocal about creating opportunities to expose young girls to non-traditional careers in STEM and even within our own LA Fire Department. So thanks to LA's Promise Fund, by creating opportunities such as the Girls Build LA, young girls are getting and gaining that ever very important exposure to other careers. The LA Promise Fund is supporting Girls Build LA, an empowerment program that will engage middle to high school girls in identifying challenges that women and girls face in their communities every day. No one is better equipped to identify underlying causes of these problems than the very girls that face them every day. Over the past 2 years, Girls Build LA has engaged tens of thousands of young girls from across the county. Last year, 10,000 young women attended the screening of Hidden Figures, an event that featured special guest appearances by stars Octavia Spencer, Janelle Monroe, Alice Hodge, and music producer Pharrell Williams. In addition, young women from dozens of schools have participated in Girls Build LA Challenge, forming teams that develop grassroots solutions to urgent problems that they face every single day in their community. They try to reach compromises and come up with solutions to try to deal with these issues. $50,000 in college scholarships have been awarded to the winning teams. This year, Girls Build LA will be hosting a leadership summit for young girls and will feature panels and presenters that have been able to address some of these issues, especially in issues such as technology and how that impacts, what kind of social impact it creates to some of the issues that women are facing in their communities. Colleagues, initiatives such as this are important to our communities in our city because if we think of the next generation, we need to think about these young women behind me, and we need to believe that these are the young ladies that are going to be able to change and make change in the communities that they grew up. I want to recognize Sepulveda Middle School in my district who's here today. Some of the young women participating in the program are with us this morning. And I especially want to thank Diane Ewell, and I want her to say a few words because she's one of our sponsors from Sepulveda Middle School. I want to recognize her. Thank you so much. Without a teacher and a force to help us bring the girls together at our schools, this program would not be possible. So I thank you very much for bringing the girls this morning. I want you to say a few words about the program.
And we want to give you a round of applause. Thank you. Let's give her a round of applause. Thank you for your service.
Well, I first want to say that it was a very challenging program. It was something that I worked very hard at because I came to a school that had a lot of challenges. We had a lot of students who were not doing well. We have a magnet on our school site, and I have to stop and say thank you to my principal, Mr. Ortega, who came into our school the same as myself, and he graciously allowed me. I begged him. I did everything I could to say, we need to do this. This is an incredible program. So he gave me the opportunity and the go-ahead. I filled out the forms, and I brought in 6th graders at first, and we managed to bring some older students in later. It was an amazing experience. The kids learned a lot. We couldn't have done this with a traditional program. And I really appreciate what Girls Build LA did for us and the many different opportunities the kids had to experience. And I brought 3 girls with me from last year. We have a whole bunch of girls right now who are wanting to be a part of the program for this year. This brings out their self-esteem. This gets girls who are in low-income communities, who don't think that they have an opportunity, that don't think that they can do a lot of great things, and this changes it for them. And it opens doors that they didn't have before. They have self-confidence now, and they have dreams that they think they can make happen. So I really want to thank Ms. Martinez and Girls Build LA for giving us this opportunity, and I hope that you support it because it's the best thing that we've had in a long time at our school. Sepulveda Middle School and Gifted Maggot. Rah!
Thank you, Ms. Ewell. I want to acknowledge the students that are here with us this morning. Avaya Eneria. So hello. Yesenia Ruiz. And Carissa Escarrega. I want her to say a few words. She wants to speak this morning. So welcome, Carissa.
Welcome.
Hello, my name is Carissa Escarrega. I am currently an 8th grader in Sepulveda Middle School Gifted Magnet Program. One way I helped my school community was by promoting school events and making PA announcements. I also wrote them down. A current 7th grader named Natalie Gonzalez, who did not have any computer skills through work, during Girls with a Lay was the key in building our website. We love our school. In our school, there is a lot of divides, but the biggest divide in our school community is the resident and magnet kids. Since the two groups rarely interact, we made it a priority to make everyone welcome to the events. I can say Girls But a Lay improved our school because we have less bullying, less trash on the ground, and better behavior in students. I feel like students feel better because they don't have to be surrounded by a dirty campus, and they feel more safe now that there are no bullying. In my opinion, it helped our community a lot, so thank you, everyone. Especially thank you to our amazing teacher for joining Girls But a Lay, Ms. Newell, and for our amazing principal, Mr. Ortega.
Thank you very much.
You know, Miss Martinez, how many people when they were in the 8th grade would have the courage to come and speak before this body? So let's give her another round of applause. I think that shows a high level of maturity on your part.
I was really touched by the fact that they could identify the division within the school where you have 80% of the kids who don't attend the magnet school, and you have 20% of the kids that are in the magnet program, and sometimes you feel a little bit isolated. And I'm very, very proud that these women recognize that, and they stepped up to ensure that everybody feels included in every single one of the activities that takes place there. So thank you very much for your courage in doing so. I want to introduce the last speaker, who's a very, very special friend of mine, Veronica Melvin. I've known for over 15 years. We've been to each other's homes. We've helped raise each other's kids. And our husbands are also really close. So I'm really proud of this woman. Not only is she the CEO of LA's Promise, who's leading this effort on Girls Build LA, but she's a woman that really believes in our children. And I've not known Veronica to do anything but work with kids. But she specifically has honed in on the importance to build our girls up within our school system. So I want to recognize her. And have her say a few words on behalf of the program. So welcome, Veronica.
Come on, Veronica. It's good to see you again. She's everywhere.
Good
to see you.
Thank you. Thank you, Councilwoman Martinez. It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you to all the friendly and familiar faces. We wouldn't be able to do the programs that we do without each and every one of your support. So thank you guys for always being so supportive and embracing us and letting us do the good work with you.
All right.
And every time she speaks or I'm next to her, I feel so short. So on behalf of the City Council and the City of Los Angeles, I want to recognize Girls Build LA as October being Girls Empowerment Month here in the City of Los Angeles. So colleagues, let's welcome our young girls. Let's make sure we lead by example so that we can continue to grow and flourish, and make sure that these girls have a seat around the horseshoe so that one day they can fill our seats and lead our city into much, much needed services. So thank you very much, colleagues. And here you go, girls.
Let's give them one more round of applause.
Month of October. Yeah, take it. I'm not that strong.
Okay, as Miss Martinez and her crew are moving to my right, I'm going to recognize Mr. Weezar on my left. Mr. Weezar, the floor is yours.
And good morning, colleagues. It gives me great pleasure to present a very special resolution in honor of one of the City of Los Angeles' most anticipated culinary events, and that is La Feria de los Moles. And today is a bittersweet presentation in light of last week's earthquake in Puebla and the southern region of Mexico, where at least 338 people were killed, including 199 in the city of Mexico, 74 in the state of Morelos, 45 in the state of Puebla, 13 in the state of Mexico, 6 in Guerrero, and 1 in Oaxaca. We stand with Mexico, we stand with Puebla, and are praying for those who lost their lives and their families. And we hope that miracles happen so that more people can still be found alive and a quick recovery for all of Mexico. Our prayers are with you. Here in Los Angeles, events like Feria de los Moles offer us an opportunity to come together, strengthen our bonds, and reconnect with our Mexican culture and traditions. And we are hoping this year it also offers solace to those dealing with what transpired in Mexico last week. But before I continue, I would like to recognize and thank Unión de Poblanos en el Exterior, it's known as UPEXT, and particularly my good friend and the Mole Festival founder, Pedro Ramos, who is in Puebla right now. And thank you to Lourdes Juarez, the current president. She has been a tremendous person behind the scenes when the Mole Festival first started and has taken the reins to make it one of the largest Mexican food festivals in the United States. So thank you so much, Lourdes and to Pedro. Let's give them a big round of applause. Thank you. Unión de Poblanos en el Exterior was founded in 2005 with the intent of fostering cultural appreciation for the Mexican community abroad. They began La Feria de los Moles 10 years ago, and it has grown to be one of, if not the biggest, Mexican food festivals in the United States, as I mentioned. 10 years ago, they came to me asking for help, finding a place to host their event. I knew it would be good. I like mole, so I wanted to make sure this festival happened, but I never imagined it would grow to become the iconic festival that it is today. We have some special guests who are visiting us from Puebla, and I want to thank and welcome Juan Enrique Rivera Reyes, Mayor of the city of Chignahuapan. Bienvenido. Also visiting us is Francisco Javier Tirado Sabreda, who owns one of the largest ornament businesses in Puebla called El Castillo de las Esferas. Bienvenido. We're also joined today by no stranger to Los Angeles. He has been with us before, Luis Javier Cue, who is passionate about Mexican culture and cuisine, especially the cuisine of Puebla. He and his brother are the owners of El Mural de los Poblanos, one of Puebla City's best restaurants. And thank you, Luis Javier Cue, for always supporting this beautiful event. Bienvenido, amigo. And if there ever is a reason for any of you to visit Puebla, it's to go visit this restaurant. I was there and I was just blown away by the culinary tradition, by the wonderful food, and just how they've kept many of the historic food elements from this great region in the food, and it's just a great place to visit. Gracias. And thank you also to staff from the Mexican consulate here today, Carlos Izunza, LAPD Officer Joseph Lopez, and friends from other states in Mexico and other regions in Latin America who are with us today. You know, we are living in difficult times. There's a lot of tension in our country and the world today, the majority of which is founded in a lack of understanding about people from different backgrounds and religions. But the one thing we know here in Los Angeles is that one of the most diverse cities in the world is that we have so much more in common with one another than we have differences. And we have more often than not discovered our similarities about each other as Angelinos through food, which is a weapon of peace, an offering of respect, and an offering of understanding. And that is what La Feria de los Moles represents. Mole is Mexico's state dish, and its mixture of ingredients from 3 continents, North America, Europe, and Africa, has made this culinary treasure the first international dish created in the Americas. And there's no better place in the entire world to celebrate an international dish with such an array of diverse influences from throughout the world than here in the city of Los Angeles. And now I would like to turn it over to Luis Javier Cue, who will share a few words. Bienvenido, amigo.
Welcome, sir. Welcome.
Thank you, everybody. Good morning. We'll try to read my speech. I prepared it in Spanish, but I had to translate it a few minutes ago in English. Well, as Jose Huizar has said, I'm a restaurant businessman, very proud of my culture and our food. Today, more than ever, because of the recent earthquake events and the great awakening of distracted society in surviving every day, we should awake our nationalisms and identity to a great culture, Mexico. I'm very proud of what Poblanos and Oaxaqueños have done in LA, La Feria de los Moles, during these 10 years. Since my first visit in 2011, I could not believe the amount of people gathering in Placito Olvera, tasting Mexico through mole from Puebla and Oaxaca, and not only food, as Mexican music and dances, making people from everywhere feeling like home, feeling Mexico. Mexico and Mexicans need us more than ever. I invite paisanos to promote our culture and origins, because now more than ever, through culture and gastronomy, we should shout Mexico. If you want to help our people, visit Puebla, Oaxaca, Morelos, Guerrero, and Chiapas. Thank you very much. Fuerza México.
Thank you. So, Mr. President, I'm asking for your assistance because at the Feria de los Moles, there's competition between Oaxaca and Puebla to see who has the best mole because it was founded there. But my mother also makes a great mole dish, and I want to see if my mother could have a booth there, but the organizers have refused that so far. So we're hoping to pass a resolution through the council today to see if my mother can have her booth.
I will second that motion.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. And we're from the northern region of Mexico in a state called Zacatecas, where Nuri's family also comes from. So now on behalf of the city of Los Angeles, I would love to present this resolution to UPEXT on their, get this, 10th anniversary of having this wonderful festival here in the city of Los Angeles that now the whole country is aware of. And it outgrew itself from El Pueblo, where it first started, and now it's here at Grant Park. We welcome all of you to come and enjoy some mole this Sunday at Grant Park. On behalf of the city of Los Angeles, muchísimas gracias. Adelante y agradecemos mucho el apoyo que le han dado ustedes a este festival, que es uno de los más grandes en los Estados Unidos de comida mexicana, pero también une a todos nosotros por la comida. Muchísimas gracias.
Mr. Buscaino.
Thank you, Mr. Huizar, for this presentation. One thing I object to this presentation, colleagues, is you're talking mole here, which was one of my favorite Mexican dishes, though I don't see mole today here at City Council. So maybe we can make that change, Mr. President. But thank you so much. Congratulations, and looking forward to the Mole Festival here in downtown Los Angeles. Felicidades.
Mr. Cedillo, you have a special introduction, sir? Do you have a special introduction?
I do.
Okay.
Gotta taste it. Did you see that motion on put our homeless folks to work? That was great.
Go ahead.
Madam President, thank you so much. Consistent with this theme and with the thoughts of the importance, the humanity between all of us, including Mexico and the United States, we all become equal when it's hurricanes and earthquakes confront us. I'd like to take a moment. Gladys Pinto's with us, and she's been with us for years, 30 years, working on these issues of building friendship between our two nations. I'd like to introduce representatives from the city of Fresno, Sacatecas, and I know your roots are in Zacatecas, so I want to make sure that I introduce. Let me start first with the president of Club Nareja Trejo. It's a transportation business. Lali Gonzalez, see? Lali. Let me introduce another businessman from the area, Omar Martinez Escobedo. Omar. Also, Julio César Nareja Trejo está con nosotros. Y el regidor Enrique Franchini Curola. Eso, easy to say. And then other regidor Eduardo Aguirre Reveles. And then moving to the Director of Economic Development for Fresno, Sacatecas, Licenciado Javier Torres Rodriguez. And then finally, if I may introduce the mayor of the city of Fresno, Zacatecas, el presidente municipal, licenciado José Aro de la Torre. Bienvenido a todos ustedes. Thank you, Gladys. And Gladys has been with us, if you can believe this, 30 years since the year of Tom Bradley, helping build friendship and understanding between our two countries. She must have been an intern at 10 years old or something. Thank you so much. Gracias. Y
Muchas gracias. Bienvenidos a Los Ángeles.
Sí.
Thank you, Mr. Cedillo. Did you have another presentation? No? Okay, thank you.
We're done.
Okay, members, we're going to call multiple card speakers. Mr. Previn?
Yeah, now the speakers are up and now we're out of here.
Okay, your item, sir? Mr. Previn, you're speaking on item 4A, item 8, and item 9.
I'm sorry.
And general public comment.
Do you mean 5A? I think you mean 5A.
4A, sir, that's what you filled out.
Well, that's a typo. I'm trying to speak on
4A, 8, 9,
well, let me revise
and general
it and come
public
back.
comment.
Would you acknowledge that I want to speak on 5A?
Can we please add Mr. Previn on item 5, please?
I appreciate that.
Okay, go ahead, sir.
Right, thank you. It is Eric Previn from CD2. And 5A, just to zero in for a minute, is a CD13 matter. CD13 is where Councilmember O'Farrell is presiding over the many of the planning decisions. This is at 906, 908 North Hudson Avenue, north of Willoughby. And what you have here is you have an LLC, Councilmember Martinez. You have, unfortunately, an LLC, just like the Masaborski LLCs, but this one, we don't know actually if Mr. Ira Sky Hudson JV LLC, the surveyor is Joel Silverman, but we don't know if this is one of the many Masaborski LLCs that, as we all unfortunately remember, were cited by this Ethics Commission here at the City Hall for excessive contributions. They excessively gave Mr. O'Farrell over $3,000 through he's about 10 or 12 LLCs, just like Ira Sky Hudson JV LLC, who we don't know because there's no way to know whether or not it's affiliated with Mr. Masaborski. And unfortunately, this is the upsetting part, Mr. O'Farrell, and that is a nice photograph. Mr. O'Farrell, unfortunately, has not agreed to give the $3,000 back, even though up in the state we have elected officials doing just that. We have all sorts of people not wanting dirty money, but Mr. O'Farrell is going to the Contract Cities meeting and acting like the leader because he will not give back the money. Now, we are talking to Jean Min, who's done a very good job at City Hall for many years. She understands the contour of the problem, and I think Tony Aranaga also appreciates how the public might be interested in just seeing that the money is restored. But we don't know what to do about it because we're very upset. Now, items 6, 7, 8, and 9 are all lighting districts, and what's very interesting, Council Member, is that CD14, the district that got such love yesterday at the Chamber of Commerce report, is only paying $125 for their annual assessment, whereas in CD7, one of the more challenged districts, they're paying $2,832 is their assessment. Now, it's true that there may be more individuals. You don't make it clear on this, so these are all, you can just bounce the numbers around. You've got one in CD11, Bonin's district, one of the richest districts, where you have a $1,264 assessment, but again, without the, kind of a apples to apples comparison, we're just fumfering around. And people who are all going to be gathering for public hearings on November 22nd at the Board of Public Works. So With that, I will simply say item number 1, which is going to be my general public comment there's 1 or 2 seconds. Thank you. Is the Great Bob Blumenfield. Now, here we have some city surplus property that he's looking at item 1, 16-1318. Now, they want to do a public auction, but they forgot to mention when they want to have the public auction. They've already got a price in mind, which is $2.5 million, and unfortunately, Blumenfield stands to, not Blumenfield personally, but his group stands to get 50% of the proceeds. So how is that not a conflict of interest that only he and Rodriguez voted on it in some committee, that a guy like me who does watch, not closely, but with some interest, doesn't even know about the Information Technology and General Services Committee report, probably because Brian Walters changed the committees around recently. But this is a good opportunity to give away city property, but it's all of the city. So he does have a kind of a preferential claim, so I think it's a conflict of interest, and we should file something with the Ethics Commission immediately, and then we'll go back and find out what's going on here, because it doesn't seem, even though it may be a great area, this kind of stick it up there, you can't speak on it, we two of us voted on it in the dark of night, it's not transparency. Thank you. Have a nice weekend.
Thank you very much, Mr. Previn. Our next speaker on multiple cards is Mr. Walsh. Mr. Walsh, are you here?
Yeah.
Mr. Walsh, you are speaking on items 4A, 4B, 4C, 5A, 6, 7, 8, 9, and general public comment. Go ahead, sir.
John Walsh, blogging at HollywoodHighlands.org or J. Walsh Confidential, tweeting at Hollywood Dems. First issue is 4A, and this is a rent escrow account. I've lived here since 1966. You do an excellent job protecting renters. You do an excellent job. I'm not one of these people who say, you're all a bunch of crooks. I'm a white man and we need white people up here. That's not John Walsh. Okay. No, although I am white and proud of it. As proud as any black person is to be black. And anyway, the next one, 4A, 4B is the same thing. 4C is the same thing. Number 6, okay, this is hearing date for this street lighting. Street lighting used to be the bane of my existence. I'd be calling you all the time when the lights went up. Then you got rid of the carbon arc, and since you got rid of the carbon arc, everything, I haven't had a call once. We haven't had a burnout in Hollywood that I know of in many, many years. Number 7, this is a hearing date for more street lighting, and I don't know how you got these numbers, but in any case, number 9 is another street lighting issue. Remember, I don't want every single second. I don't need every white second. Let's go to public comment. And Mr. Bonnet. So in any case, Mr. Bonnet has been absent now for quite some time. We want to know where he was and why he was out, why he wasn't at the MTA meeting before, and we want to know what his HIV status is. And we know he's a drug, he takes drugs because he admitted it recently right over here. So what we want to know is what is happening, and of course this building is a fire trap. On June 8th, you can watch the meeting on Friday when the building was evacuated, but meanwhile the cocksucker, David Sennheiser, who allows himself to be flirted with the mayor, he has not printed any story about the evacuation of this building on June 8th. Why? Because the fire sprinkler system burst in the basement. This whole system is falling apart.
Thank you, Mr. Walsh. Madam Clerk, let's go ahead and reconsider item 1. Let's go ahead and open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the votes.
12 ayes.
Okay, that item's now before us. Let's go ahead and open the roll. Close the roll and tabulate the vote.
12 ayes.
Thank you. Okay, let's move on to multiple court speakers. Mr. Herman? Mr. Herman, you're speaking on items 4A, 4B, 4C, 4D, 4E, 6, 7, 8, 9, and general public comment.
Now that we're conducting the business for the people under item number 17-0900S98, on topic, on decorum, I'd like to remind Jose Huizar, CD14, first consideration of establishing a hearing date for the maintenance of State and 2nd Street lighting. Much improved, but without delay. Just like that nice yellow dress down here that shines so bright in this immaculate building that's so clean I can lick my chops.
You're talking about a woman in the audience. It has nothing to do with this issue.
No, ma'am, I'm reading off the agenda. And then on item number 8, regarding CD6,
relative to establishing the fucking hearing fucking date for the fucking maintenance for the fucking Lenox Avenue and fucking Hart Street lighting fucked up district regarding approval of the fucked up mayor who never shows up to adopt the fucking report for the fucking director for the fucking Bureau Street fucking lighting dated September 18, 2017. Woo.
Then on item number 9, 17/0900S101 CD11, the pussy continues to say,
let us establish a hearing date for the maintenance of the Parama and Beethoven Street lighting district. After all, it presents and adopt the accompanying ordinance
of the goddamn intention of setting the date on November 29, 2017 for the fucking hearing, the date, the fucking maintenance for the fucking Paramount Beethoven fucked up street light, fucked up court, proposition 218, articles X111C, XAD, all the, and now my public fucking comment. This morning at 9 o'clock, I happened to go to the Hollenbach Police Division, and I spoke before Officer 25960, Mr. J. Garcia, and Officer 37830 Gonzalez, for they denied me access, asking me, do I have paperwork from being disabled? And I said, fuck you. 42 U.S.C. 1983. Stop discrimination under the American Disability Act, Article 2, Article 3, and what am I referring to? The ADA, compliance of non-discrimination against a person with an individual disability. You fucking rookie. That's what I'm talking about, fucking rookie. 42 U.S.C. 1983. And regarding badge number 32231, Mr. Washington, Deputy Chief Moore is going to hear more about your discrimination. Fuck you.
Let's move on to Mr. Spindler. Mr. Spindler, you are going to speak on items number 4A, 4B, 4C, 4D, 4E, 5A, 5B, 6, 7, 8, and 9, and general public comment. Go ahead.
Nuri counts well. She used to be a school teacher. Okay. Let's get to the agenda. Let's get to item 6. Jose Huizar and lighting. Should we support it?
Yes,
Why?
because Weezer's Jewish and it's Yom Kippur.
Okay, we support item number 14. Item number 7. Should we give Monica her leading district?
Absolutely, yeah, she's a no.
We support item number 7. See, when you do a good job, we see so, and you do a good job of lighting. We're not these white people that go, wah, 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 wah. Not us, no. We're not complainers. We're commentors. Then we get to item number 8. The special item on the agenda, CD number 6, that's Nuri. Nuri.
Lighting district, lighting district. Yes, more lighting in CD number 6. Continuing Lenox and Hart Street as we legalize all drugs. Yes, we're legalizing marijuana, and CD6 needs the lighting so the customers can see what they're buying in those dark evenings. Lenox Avenue, Hart Street, Sepulveda. Nuri's doing a good job of legalizing all drugs and legalizing prostitution,
topic,
which
Madam
we
President.
fully support. So yes on item number 8, which is CD6. We support it. Now we get to item 9, the missing Councilman Bonin's district. Where is Mike Bonin on number 9? He wants lighting, but he's not working. And if he's not working, how can we have lighting that works? Bonin's been missing. So item 9 cannot be approved. Read the city charter. The city charter states that the councilman must approve the lighting district before it can be assessed. And Mike Bonin has not been working for over 3 weeks now. This is illegal. We must not have these illegal tactics being used on absentee council members. Now, the rest of this is the REAP program. And again, when you do a good job, we say so. Amnesty for landlords. Yes, thank you. So now, we got a problem. CD11 no longer has a council member. And we're hearing rumors like Mr. Rosendahl and Mr. Bonin apparently is suffering some sort of breakdown or illness that is unknown. The LA Times is hiding the story. Reporters have been attempting to locate the whereabouts of this councilman and ask about his mental and physical status. Those efforts have been proven unsuccessful. He has posted a grand total of 2 tweets since the last 48 hours, which are not germane to the question, where the hell is Mike Bonin? What does he have? He admitted on this floor that he is a drug addict. I think he was shouting out for help. None of you would help him. Well, Cedillo actually came over and offered to help. So Mike Bonin is not going to be on the council anymore.
Madam Clerk, Mr. Herman, thank you very much for the applause. We can do without it. Madam Clerk, we're going to go into our special meeting.
Blumenfield, Bonin, Buscaino, Cedillo, Englander, Harris, Dawson, Weezer, Koretz, Krikorian, Martinez, O'Farrell, Price, Rodriguez, Rue, Wesson, 12 members present and a quorum, Madam President.
Okay, thank you, members. Item 10 is now before us. We have Mr. Buscaino. Go ahead.
Thank you, Madam President. Colleagues, this item before you is a public safety issue that is facing our waterfront. Today, in a time where we're redeveloping the waterfront and populating the LA waterfront in San Pedro and Wilmington with people, we need to ensure that we have the appropriate public safety resources, and this item before us will allow us to bring forth a fast response boat for the Los Angeles Fire Department in the event of an emergency. We've seen a number of events with hundreds of thousands of people coming down to the LA waterfront. Most recently, LA Fleet Week, Red Bull Rallycross Relay is coming up in a couple weeks. This weekend, the boat show, the Southern California Boat Show, will be held at the Cabrillo Marina. Among other amazing events, next month, Live Nation is bringing a 2-day music festival. So it's critical that we have the appropriate public safety personnel and resources necessary in a time, as I mentioned, that we are populating the LA waterfront. So this item before us, I do want to recognize Mr. Englander for waiving this item out of public safety. As we know, time and seconds are precious as it relates to response times with police and fire, and Mr. Englander recognizes that it's important, as we identified these funds, to move forward on literally launching a fast response boat. I do want to thank Chief Palacios, representing the LA Fire Department, and the amazing work of our port, the port police officer and law enforcement, the LA's and the National Marine, premier marine law enforcement agency, Port PD, in partnership with Mr. Soroka, our general manager of the Port of Los Angeles. So I strongly support this item before us, and want to again thank those who were able to, in the mayor's office, able to identify the dollars to move forward on launching a fast response boat along the LA waterfront. Thank you, Madam President.
Thank you, Mr. Buscaino. We have 4 speakers on the queue. Mr. Walsh, followed by Mr. Previn, Mr. Spindler, and Mr. Herman.
To the 12 people who are here, John Walsh, blogging at HollywoodHighlands.org, or J. Walsh Confidential, tweeting at Hollywood Dems. As far as this item number 10 is concerned, this is a special council meeting, and we definitely support the fire department modifying the budget, council file number 1525. We don't have a chance to say it to Mr. Bonin because apparently he has AIDS and he's not showing up for 4 weeks.
Thank you, Mr. Walsh. Mr. Previn, followed by Mr. Spindler and Mr. Herman.
Thank you, Councilmember Martinez. This is a fast consideration of the fast boat response, the fast boat. I got to be honest with you. I don't understand why this would be special meeting material. It looks to me like we're transferring $315,000 and $160,000 for overtime, and yet when it arrives to a different fund, it's $236,000 and $120,000. So we're about 100 and change short. I'm sure you found some way to spend it, but and $40,000 for more staff overtime. Here's the thing: fast boats are not about staff overtime, are they? I mean, they're used when you have to get somewhere very quickly. So I don't think everyone's standing around on the clock on overtime waiting to deploy the fast boat. And by the way, there's a tradition. McDonald's, Navy, we have over at the LA County Sheriff's as well. Fast boats are fun for fire guys, but it's important too. But it's just a question of, does this make any sense to be rushed through on a sleepy Friday before the HHH committee? Thanks.
Thank you, Mr. Previn. Mr. Spindler?
So yes, we support our fire department, and it's very good. Nuri wore the official colors of public safety, big bright colors, to be seen by the LAFD in case she needs assistance. Yes, very good. And also Monica wore the honorary colors of the LAFD too, very bright colors.
Spindler, get on the topic, or please sit down if you're not going to stay on topic. We're on item number 10.
Stay on the fucking topic.
All right. You take it, bitch.
Okay, so we're looking at FEMA. What is this? We're stealing from FEMA. FEMA is our bitch. You, FEMA, are our bitch. We own you, FEMA. Trump, we own FEMA. We're going to keep fucking robbing FEMA of every dollar until you resign as president.
Mr. Herman, item number 10.
Shall we authorize the Department of LAFD to receive FEMA? FEMA means Federal Emergency Management money. Federal means the Department of Justice needs to investigate whether FEMA has any performance period for the September 1st asking of this monies. You see, when you do a good job, FEMA rewards you. It gives you plenty of money because people with disabilities are part of the authorized Chief of LA Fire Department's group around for following the general fund. So the 160,000 fire department, along with the 236, 250 fire department, and on behalf of all the public and all my fans and the federal government, Trump, fuck you!
Okay, that concludes speakers. Madam Clerk, on this item. Let's go ahead and open the roll. Close the roll and tabulate the vote.
12 ayes.
Okay, let's go ahead and send this item forthwith for Mr. Buscaino. Go ahead and adjourn our special meeting and go back to our regular meeting, Madam Clerk. Okay, let's go ahead and vote on items 4, A through E, item 5, A through B, items 6, 7, 8, and 9. Let's go ahead and open the roll. Close the roll. Tabulate the votes.
12 ayes.
Those items pass. We have a few cards for general public comment. Tony Vale. Omar Baldwin.
Good morning, everyone, and thank you. This is directed to Councilmember Jose Huizar and all Plum Committee members regarding the home sharing ordinance. As I have read and understood this ordinance, it really is like using a shotgun to kill a rabbit. The devastation of this ordinance, it's diffuse, and it hurts many in the process. Since I am one of many hosts who would be hurt, I want to share with you a little bit about how I choose to serve. I proudly serve the monolingual Spanish-speaking community as a volunteer interpreter while I'm training to become a certified court interpreter. I gladly serve the Northeast LAPD as a volunteer and Blend board member. I successfully revived a boxing program led by LAPD officers for local youth that has been dormant since the new station was built. By imposing a cap, I simply cannot provide for my family and continue serving as a volunteer. Before imposing anything upon us, I urge you to meet with us and let us have a seat at the table to help you create an ordinance that is fair for all. Please do not cap our potential. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Omar Baldwin.
Hello, my name is Omar Baldwin. I'm a political science major from Cal State University of Northridge. I got out of college in 2013, and ever since 2013, I've been involved in the community. I also was a victim of homelessness, but it's been a good experience because I have the opportunity to work on many different councils to help end homelessness in Los Angeles. I started a nonprofit back in 2013. I didn't have a lot of help and a lot of guidance, so I fell into some constraints with the IRS, but in a few months we'll probably be back on our feet. We're going to be pushing a lot of peace propaganda and peace activities for the youth and get our youth involved in a peace movement because our world, we don't want to keep shooting missiles, back and forth around the world because, it'll get toxic and then we'll be walking around, we're like mutants and we'll all be X-Men, but that wouldn't be cool, so peace.
Thank you so much, Omar. Nice to see you. That concludes our speakers for today. Madam Clerk, what's before us?
Council has motions for posting and referral.
Posted and referred members. That clears the desk. Are there any announcements? Mr. O'Farrell.
Thank you, Madam President. Thank you. Everyone is invited to a free screening of the film classic It Happened One Night, directed by Frank Capra in 1934, the Oscar winner that year for Best Film, Director, Screenplay, Actor, and Actress. We're screening it tomorrow night at Echo Park Lake at 6:30 p.m. Free popcorn, service information available from our booth at Echo Park Lake. Please join us for this classic film and free screening at Echo Park Lake tomorrow evening at 6:30.
Thank you so much, Mr. O'Farrell. Any other announcements, members?
Film.
Mr. Buscaino.
Thank you. As I mentioned in item 10, this weekend at the Cabrillo Marina in San Pedro is the Southern California Boat Show. And Mr. Kokorian, if you're up for paddleboarding, there's an opportunity to paddleboard down at the marina as well. Not for you, okay.
My daughter's a great paddleboarder.
But come on down. Again, we're expecting a lot of folks down there. Second annual Southern California In-Water Boat Show at the Cabrillo Marina. Come aboard and compare a large selection of new boats as well as some of the finest vessels on the Pacific coast. So you're all welcome to join us. We'll be kicking it off tomorrow at 10 a.m., and it goes all the way to Sunday, till 10 to 5 till Sunday as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Buscaini. Any other announcements? And members, like I mentioned during the week, we have the very first Van Nuys Arts Festival taking place today in the community of Van Nuys in my district at 6 p.m. Live music concert at the Van Nuys Civic Center. You're all welcome to join me. Can we please rise for adjourning motions? Adjourning motions to my left, Mr. Buscaino.
If I may, Madam President, I do have two. I'd like to adjourn in honor of Maria Sculuzzo, passed away peacefully on September 19th with her family by her side. Born to Carlo Donizetti and Caterina Bueto in San Michele di Ganzaria on April 21st, 1933. She was the third oldest of 6 siblings. Grew up in Categiorne, and in 1967, at the age of 34, embarked on a summer trip to visit her uncle in America. And during this trip, she met the love of her life, John, who she married and bought a home in San Pedro. She enjoyed being in her kitchen, creating delicious meals for her family. Her family's favorite dishes included her cannelloni, handmade raviolis, gnocchi, to name a few. Maria was a devoted Catholic and enjoyed attending various patron saint festivities at Mary Star of the Sea Church. She is survived by her loving husband of 50 years, John, daughter Mercedes, grandson Christian, 4 siblings in Italy, many nieces, nephews, and great-nieces and nephews. May she rest in peace. And lastly, I'd like to adjourn today's council in memory of Maria Agrusa, who passed away peacefully, surrounded by her family on September 19th. Born May 22nd, 1921, in the town of Cinisi on the island of Sicily. She moved to the United States and would become a 45-year resident of San Pedro. Miss Agrusa will be greatly missed by everyone who knew her. She will always be remembered for her kindness and love and shared with her family. Also, not to be forgotten of the wonderful Sunday dinners she would host for her family and friends. She is preceded in death by her husband, Antonino, and her son, Domenico. She is survived by her 3 children, Francesco Agrusa, Antonia Agello, and Rosario Agrusa, 10 grandchildren, Lilo, Nino, Mimo, Anthony, Dominic, Maria, Joseph, Nino, Paolo, Maria, and 12 great-grandchildren. Maria Agrusa, may she rest in peace. Thank you, colleagues.
Mr. Buscaino, any other adjourning motions? Seeing none, our meeting is adjourned. Have a great weekend. Thank you.